Okay, here's how to add a Turnitin assignment to Canvas. So we're going to go down to Assignments to add a new assignment. So presumably you have your instructions prepared. And you can drop those in here. You can, of course, attach it as a file. This is like any other, so far, this is like any other Canvas assignment. So you would assign the points you want to assign to it. Obviously, you can, create a separate area for it, same area, etc. These are all the same. This is where you're going to add it as Turnitin, and you can even see it says there are two versions, the external tool, etc., etc. Which one do we want? Whoops, sorry about that. We want the external tool. So we're just going to scroll down to Turnitin. Not the framework, Turnitin. Select that. And it's going to be there. So I'll be honest with you, I sometimes allow 2 attempts because one of the problems with Turnitin as it integrates with Canvas is that once it's been submitted, it can't be unsubmitted. And so if a student accidentally submits the wrong version, whatever it might be, there's just pain and anguish. But of course, that is going to vary by the type of assignment that you give. So then you're going to give it a due date and availability time. So I'll just make this due tomorrow at the end of the day. I'm going to make it available starting basically right now. So that's 10 p.m. Okay. We're going to go ahead and save that. And what's going to happen is the Turnitin window is going to pop up. And you can repeat the instructions here, but of course you don't have to. Sometimes what I'll do is say, see Canvas for instructions or see Canvas assignment for instructions. You can see that the start date and the due date are already completed. That's based on the information I just previously entered into Canvas. The feedback release date is when the feedback that you put into the Turnitin system for grades, if you do that, that's when that's going to be released and the students can see it. So, because written work sometimes takes a little bit longer, you'll start to get emails from students that say, hey, I don't have a grade for my whatever, and I know my classmate does, what's going on. So you can obviously defer the release date so that they all get released at the same time if you so choose. Optional settings, there's not a lot going on here that I typically use. There's just a couple things that are worth, in my opinion, working with. I do the standard paper repository. Sometimes I enable grammar checking, and when I do, I take it to advanced because I feel like that's appropriate for college students. I don't often use spelling. That's purposeful because in the tax courses I teach, we use a lot of acronyms that don't really work with the spell checker. And so what happens is all these marks appear and you don't really want them to. So obviously one way to get rid of all that is you're like, hey, I'm not going to let the system do any of that. I'll either do it all myself or whatever the case might be. And probably the only other important item here is, and I'm looking for it, I don't see it, which is weird, which is allow late submissions. So it looks like that's been, oh, there it is, allow late submissions. So this is if you're going to allow late submissions, right? So again, this is if you have a deadline of midnight and someone wants to turn it in at 12:02 a.m. or whatever. In theory, they've missed the deadline. The system will capture it as late. You will know that it's late. But this prevents like, hey, I couldn't submit it, so here's my email. So, and that's really it. Once you're done with this screen, you just hit submit. You can save them for future use if you like them. I generally don't. This is just kind of a nod to make sure I think of these things every time. And then your assignment is set up. So, then it's going to be available to the students. And the next time you go to it in the grade book, it will have submissions in it. So let me quickly there's not going to be anything for us to look at. But since we did just create that assignment, I have no students. So if we click on this, instead of showing this box, right, it's the assignment inbox, it would have all the students listed and their submissions, and you could click on them and grade them. If for some reason you need to change the dates, you can go to Edit Assignments, and you can go in and change all the previous due dates. Something that is not integrated between Turnitin and Canvas is being able to do special assignments. So if you have someone that needs time and a half, or you need someone, with double time, or someone needs to take it as a makeup, or whatever that case might be, you cannot have Turnitin change and reflect that. So even if you put it in here, it's not going to be reflected in their Turnitin assignment unless there's been a dramatic programming change that I'm not aware of. And that's pretty much it.